Hey, can you hear me?
Hi. I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm targeting marketing, but that's okay.
Mhm.
There should be a waiting room this time.
Mm.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I want to first of all say welcome everyone and thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us. Today we're going to be talking about something every e-commerce marketing team is feeling right now, and that's execution capacity. It's really not a lack of strategy, not a lack of ideas, but the real challenge of consistently sending campaigns out the door week after week at the speed like revenue actually requires. So we appreciate you guys taking the time today to visit with Danielle and I. And so before we kind of jump in, I'd love to kind of introduce the two of us who will be kind of talking and leading you through this today. Is that able to the next slide, Danielle?
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. Just quick pictures of our faces. I'm Kevin Wood. I lead the e-commerce strategy and sales here at TargetBay. I spend most of my time working directly with e-commerce owners and operators who are trying to kind of scale the revenue without really having to add to headcount. And then you also hear from Danielle, which hopefully most of you know. She runs our AI email agent programs and works hands-on with a lot of the brands executing campaigns every single day. Um, so let's start with kind of what we want to talk about or walk you through with this session as we kind of move into the next slide. What you'll learn. Um, by the end of today and by the end of this session, we're kind of really hoping you'll clearly understand three things. First, why email execution really kind of works, or really kind of why the email execution is quietly becoming kind of the largest growth bottleneck inside e-commerce marketing teams. Second, the new operating model leading teams are moving toward to solve that constraint and how to kind of solve that. And then third, we also want to consistently show you kind of how, what consistent execution actually looks like and does to your revenue once it's in place. Um, some of the other things that we'll also kind of be walking you through is kind of how our AI email agent helps you and works with you and your team to kind of solve these three problems. A lot of teams are trying to scale output without hiring, and also we'll have the real kind of case study from a real customer that we've been working with, Locker Room Direct, and what it's looked like for them to have this consistent execution, and what it meant for their revenue. So when I say that execution becomes reactive, revenue impact shows up faster than most teams really expect. And then why email kind of breaks on lean teams, it's not really a challenge. The challenge is not your ideas, it's really kind of the execution impacts that people have, and that's what we'll kind of talk about these next slides. So email should really be your most profitable channel, and it really should be working for you. There's a lot of revenue potential. It's massive, depending on the scale and the size of your list. But it always comes down to the execution, the capacity your team has, and why it holds teams back is because small teams tend to not be able to manage all the responsibilities that they have from day to day. If you're working with a small setup and you don't have like the employees and the size of the other companies that are these large retail companies, running campaigns, creating campaigns, launching campaigns, they could become that kind of fall off to the side. They become late, they become inconsistent. And that's where you really kind of miss these revenue opportunities. And we literally heard from a lot of our customers over the years about these are the things kind of holding them back. The reality really is email is high leverage, but it competes with everything else that you have to do and have on your plate. The outcome that you really want is you don't want execution to become that bottleneck. You don't want your ideas to kind of hold you back. You want to be able to execute so revenue becomes repeatable. And that's really the goal today and how our AI email agent will solve these problems. So again, email just didn't get harder. It's more likely your time is disappearing. By disappearing, it just means there's more platforms, more vendors, more channels competing for your attention. In this day and age, everything is AI this, AI that, but people are also being able to use that and build and bring more tools to um, the e-commerce platform, the e-commerce world, and it's making your attention and everyone else's attention, it becomes less restrictive. It becomes more restrictive where you have to kind of focus on things that are going to drive revenue for your company. And this is where email becomes more reactive instead of planned. And this is where a lot of people do kind of see the consistency drop off, and they're looking for more other ways to kind of capitalize on that of the email campaign. So what we really want to do is make sure that while your team might feel behind and you're always trying to catch up, your inbox is not getting seeing the cadence or reliable engagement signals that it normally sees. We're going to fill that gap. And you'll see this when Daniel starts talking about it soon through strategy and through better execution to kind of get over that gap you might be facing currently right now with having to come up with a strategy every month, a content counter every month, and kind of figure out how to execute this each and every week. And so finally, the last problem is like the hidden revenue costs that you're probably facing. The inconsistency reduces the revenue that you're seeing. So if you send out campaigns and you do make revenue, email marketing revenue from that, which should be one of your bigger drivers as an e-commerce store, if you're not sending it out regularly, you are missing those opportunities for revenue. There could be promotions missing buying windows. You have your cadence drops, the engagement signals weaken. All those things, your customers are losing your engagement with you and not engaging with your brand and going to your store as often as they normally would. What we're going to solve and kind of show you how we solve is kind of like, again, driving those conversions, driving the engagement, and driving inbox placement, all that, which will then drive revenue. It's something that a lot of larger e-commerce stores that are already scaled are able to do. But what we'll be able to do is help you with that through a lot of efficiencies, and which is why the main reason why we created this AI email agent. So this is where I'm going to turn it over to Danielle. She's going to talk more about the shift to AI execution and what leading e-commerce teams are already doing and some of the teams that we are working with already, how they're using our system to kind of scale that execution and not do more manual work. So with that, I'll turn it over to Danielle.
Yes, because the goal is to not create more work for you, more work for you, more work for your team. The goal is to make it easier in general. One thing I definitely want to touch on first is if you are using Gmail and you're using G Suite, you've probably seen an AI box that is like talking about what the email is about. We've seen that the Gemini AI is completely reshaping the inbox, especially for Gmail, that the emails are now being evaluated by the AI systems before a subscriber or the user is able to fully read them. So that means that when an email is sent out through Gmail, the AI is summarizing, prioritizing, and being able to say what is important in this email for a user to read. Most of the marketing emails are being judged by Gmail, whether if there's like too many images, if there's too much things that might be considered spammy. AI is going to interpret the message before a human's able to read it. So you want to make sure there's clear subject lines, preview text, and also body copy inside of that. So it's not as much so heavily design copied. And that way it's not being able to be misunderstood or deprioritized by Gmail when it goes through it. These emails have to be consistently shown for humans and AI to be able to understand and be able to interpret it. So with the implication from that is that the structure and clarity are now the ranking signals for where your email is going to go. Inbox, whether it's going to be promotions, whether it's going to be spam. It AI is not able to read the message. The email is going to get less visibility because AI is not going to see that there's anything worth noting in this specific email. So teams that are going to be standardizing AI readability structure will be able to win that attention in the inbox placement. And how that translates to our AI email agent, specifically within Bay Engage, is that it was built for this era. It is manually, it's showing that when you're manually optimization, you're not going to be able to do every single part of this because the AI readability structure on every send is just hard to sustain for a single person. Um, the AI email agent will be able to standardize the structure that the AI system is going to be using to summarize, prioritize, and make sure that this is consistently meeting those standards. And that includes like a text for structure and clarity, not as much heavy image or designs based. It's going to be clearly readable, hierarchy of what's included in it, lightweight layouts that AI is going to be able to read. And the next one, it's explicit calls to action instead of potentially saying call now or sorry, shop now, anything like that. The actions are clear and interpretable. Like if there's a promotion saying save, 50% now, every single thing that you're adding to your template now needs to have a rhyme and reason behind it. And that includes functional navigation elements so that like your text headers and even like in your footers, like everything is going to have a rhyme and a reason. If you're showing your menu bar that is your that's talking about your collections page or specific items you might want to drive people to on your website, it can't just be icons. It has to be specific text there for a reason that's what you want people to see. And on the flip side of that, having dynamic utility blocks for each of the different templates, that would be, smart footers, banners. If you're using like rewards, like our Bay reward system, like having like your membership ID or your loyalty points included in there, it's showing unique information for each of the templates being sent out. AI is extremely not only easier for you and less time consuming, but in terms with like Gmail, which is very strict about inbox placement, this is going to be able to help you receive better visibility from it. Now, kind of going to more side of like how it would be able to help you with this, it is able to really scale your execution and being able to shift the systems to make it easy for you. The campaign creation is automated. You're going to turn your ideas into drafts and calendars without the manual production work. Optimization is continuous. AI is sometimes takes a little bit for it to learn, but once you start sending it out on a regular basis, the timing, the targeting, and the learning is just going to improve with every single send. And this is also going to help you to be able to scale without a headcount. So the output is going to increase without having additional people that you have to add to your team or stress about finding time to be able to do this. This is really to make sure that you are able to have a repeatable execution for your templates and not just one off when you're sending them out, being able to consistently do it. Now, so specifically introducing our AI email agent, it is just a way for you to have a layer in your email program. It's going to consistently send out your, or it's going to continuously do a campaign calendar, content calendar that's going to plan out what campaigns are going to be included in the month. The created is going to be produced on your brand voice and your brand tone, part of the onboarding process. So we get that information and it's being fed into the AI agent. And there's also going to be some timing, targeting that's optimized over time. And we also have human oversight to help make sure the brand control before it's even sent to you to be able to review the template. Because AI it's like 85% there, then just being able to have humanized to make sure it does make sense and everything. There's a rhyme and a reason. This is really beneficial for lean teams, being able to have more output, less manual work, and consistent performance signals. And you also have full control over it. While you wouldn't be having to worry about creating the content, creating the email, you're going to approve what goes out. So you're going to make sure it looks good and it matches what you want to be shown before it gets scheduled. Now, from beginning and building the campaigns to approving them, all of this is to make it an easy strategy for you. So before, the manual production consumed the time. You had to think about what was going to be done. Campaigns were built last minute. The creative and segmentation was taking longer than you were expected. And execution slips when your priorities shift. With this, you might not be able to capitalize on key times for sending out campaigns. Take, for instance, tomorrow's Friday the 13th. That could be a great time to send out a flash sale or, Valentine's Day, President's Day. All of this information you would be able to know ahead of time, and the AI email agent and our team would be able to set that up before you even have to worry about it. So afterwards, the campaign's going to be queued. It's going to be ready for you to review. You're going to be able to make sure that it looks good, but you don't have to build it manually. So with this, the output is going to increase without you having to do an increasing workload. So it's going to shift your work from production to just review and direction. That way you're still having input, but you're not having to do the heavy lifting. And the biggest thing about this is consistent execution compounds. So these consistently sending out emails is a great predictive revenue growth. More consistent sends, more customer touch points, more captured buying moments, more predictable revenue. Also, inbox placement stabilizes as engagement signals strengthen. If you're sending out campaigns sporadically, maybe like once every couple of months or once a quarter, Gmail and other email service providers aren't going to see you as regularly sending it out, people regularly opening it. If it's more sporadic, it can affect your domain health. Also, your revenue, it's going to become less volatile month to month because you're not having that steady stream of staying in front of people. And your teams can really plan around this as a dependable channel that you can be able to have as a revenue source. Now, to show you how it works, like in practice, so what it looks like. Here's a high level flow of how that AI email agent would basically run for your program. It's always on execution that turns your inputs into ready to approve campaigns. What you customers connect once, it would the part of the onboarding process is that we would get your brand voice, your guidelines, your examples, more about your business. What are you trying to portray with your company, with your brand? See about your promotion and priorities. Do you like to run promotions? If you don't, that's completely fine. Just would want to know that to not include like a Valentine's Day sale. But if you did, on the flip side, wanted to send out, say, a promotion each month, then we could be able to prioritize which email you would want to have. We would also be able to learn from past performance signals to learn what wins and what works, and really offering guardrails like offer rules and exclusions for anything that matches when you run a promotion. So then once we get that information about what's important for your brand, then the agent is going to build a campaign calendar based on your business. That's going to be based on what was talked about before, what was information included. Once a content calendar is created, then that will be shared with you. You can be able to check it to make sure it looks good. Then once that is approved, then it is going to generate the drafts continuously. So you never start from zero. And then once it's done, you'll be able to have a ready queue. So execution always stays consistent. And even better, once you approve it, then the agent's going to execute. So I'll review myself or a team will review the plan with you, but you are still staying in control. You have full control over the emails that are being sent out. You just don't have to do the manual work to create the templates. You have changes, not a problem. We'll be able to take that as well. But but how it would kind of work for is like, so you can review the recommended calendar drafts. You can approve, you can edit, or you can skip. You don't have to go with a recommendation. You can skip. But you also have guidance on promotions or priorities if there is a holiday that you would potentially want to advertise for. And with it, the execution would always be moving. The campaigns are scheduled, they're sent after approval. The segments are included, timing is applied consistently. And then again, the queue just stays full for the next review. You always know what's going to be next. And this, again, you're moving away from building the campaigns to directing what's going to be sent, when it's going to be sent, and approving the content. And just like with any type of AI that you're using, every send is going to make the next one better. The optimization is ongoing, it's not occasional. So these results are going to become predictable. The engagement signals are going to be tracked, the deliverability is monitored. The ones that get a very high open rate, click rate, and revenue, those templates can be reused. And if there are some weak performances, that's fine. We'll just make sure that we do something different for the next time. And the timing can be adjusted based on how everything's being like your subscribers are responding. The targeting can also improve how the segments perform. If you typically send to all subscribers, then potentially having an engaged user segment after the fact as a follow-up. So not only will that have a follow-up email, but it could go to your engaged users that typically open it, which would also help increase your domain reputation. And these creative and consistent patterns are going to help evolve to seeing what converts best for you. And again, just consistency, making sure you're sending out the campaigns, having that inbox placement and the revenue. All of this is just going to run with all just your approval. For example, one of our case studies here is for Locker Room Direct. This is a great example of what happens when execution becomes consistent. So before, the email was important. It was a big part, but it competed with everything else with a lean team. So the email execution felt reactive instead of planned. Campaigns were built in between other priorities, vendor needs, calendars were more inconsistent, harder to maintain, and the creative production took time. And with that, there were delayed launches. It might be pushed out a couple of days, a couple of weeks. And with that, then some high intent moments could have been missed due to the timing. So, like the most relatable moment, we knew email could drive revenue, but we never had enough time to do it the right way. So, with after this, with the AI execution, with it running continuously, with human oversight to keep those campaigns on brand, then the execution became consistent without adding additional work. The campaign calendars were generated automatically. The creative produced brand voice. They send timing and target optimized continuously. And then the human oversight would make sure that it was brand aligned, that it ensured quality. And so, really being able to shift from building those campaigns to reviewing and approving them instead. And with the results from this, the email it shifted from reactive to to repetitive. The stronger engagement across campaigns, more consistent sending, being able to be specific, brand specific, team specific, everything can be more specific than just sending out a broad email. And it became a really dependable revenue driver. Now, bringing it back to you, what does that mean for you, right? That's great for them, but how does that translate to what you're doing, your return on investment, and your next steps? So, continuous improvement. I know definitely harping on this, but it's so important. Every send is going to make the next one better. Optimization is ongoing, it's not occasional. You cannot send your emails out sporadically. There needs to be consistent sends. That means that the results will be more predictable, and you can count on that. You can count on that from the emails. So the timing is going to be adjusted. The targeting will improve with the segmentation. Creative patterns can be able to be shown for what really resonates. Consistently being able to have a stable inbox placement and revenue. So you're able to have that going every time. And the small consistency gains are going to create that big revenue lift. So, a real simple way to think about that. The step one is you're going to restore consistent output. For example, the campaigns go going out with the planned sending window instead of being delayed or skipped. You're hitting those targeted days that would be great for sending out those campaigns. Step two, capture those missing buying moments. Cadence stabilizing, engagement signals are recovering, promotions are on those timelines that you would like to do. And then at step three, the predictable revenue lift. Obviously, we love to send out great emails telling people about it, but one of the huge goals is being able to increase those sales. So with this, revenue becomes more reliable with every email that gets sent out, and you're not having slips between not having time to send out the campaigns. If each campaign generates X amount of dollars in revenue, then restoring the campaigns consistently being sent out will help produce that incremental revenue each month, each week, each year that will quickly exceed the cost of the AI email agent in general. So you are going to see that return on investment. And even more so, the advantage window is open right now. Most teams are still manual. So AI execution is going to be becoming a new baseline. So, more so, what has been and what is still most teams doing is that manual production workflow, which execution is depending on calendar gaps when you have availability or when you make time by shifting something else that was potentially a priority. So the campaigns are slipping, the cadence is dropping, your engagement is weakening, and the revenue becomes volatile because you can't rely on that anymore to be that steady stream each time. But then these early adopters for the AI email agent, they're always on a consistent strategy. Those sends are going out, steady signals, the more buying windows are captured, continuously improving over time, and you're able to count on that revenue from the campaigns. So teams that build this infrastructure now are really being able to compound on the advantage that you're having. And I am going to go ahead and pass it back over to Kevin now, where he talks about the investment and the attendee offer that we have as well.
Thanks, Danielle. So that's why I kind of let Danielle do all the talking in between because she's oversees it. She's really good at kind of showing how the execution of this model works and what, consistent execution can create. So I can talk about, of course, the fun part is the investment, and we also have an attendee only offer for today for everyone who has joined. The great news is with our pricing, we built this around campaign cadence, so you can match your execution with the execution volume to your growth goals. So if you're only sending 2 campaigns a month, we have a plan for you. If you're sending 4 campaigns, 8 campaigns, we have plans for you as well. We some brands, why they do begin like at 2 campaigns per month just to kind of see how it does. A lot of them jump into 4, what they're currently doing. And they do after about 2 to 3 months really kind of see that consistency pay off. And they so shortly then ramp up to like 4 campaigns, or sorry, 8 campaigns per month to kind of really scale that production. The key idea behind our pricing and the investment is really to make the flexibility where whatever makes sense today, we can expand as your capacity for this program kind of grows. So it's a really great way to kind of dip your toe in if you want to start off and then kind of grow that in. We're not committing you to anything for a certain amount of time. We want to work with you and work with where your budget and also where you're trying to grow with your company. Another great thing is, as you see below, what we're offering for people who are attending today, you're going to get your first or half off your first 2 months campaign. So if you're sending 1 campaign or sign up for 2 campaigns, you'll get 50% off that plan. 4 campaigns, 50% off that plan, and then 8 campaigns, 50% off that plan going into the first 2 months. So it's something where you can really even see the benefit from there, saving some additional money up front. But this will allow you to launch quickly, test the execution model inside your real program, and begin seeing this impact without any normal ramp-up costs. You're going to get really good templates built by Danielle and her team. It's agency level type templates and campaigns that are being sent out and really have a fraction of the cost. Again, this was designed to really make sure for your team that you're able to kind of grow and scale without having to fork over certain amounts of dollars that you would for an agency to kind of do the same thing. And that's a great thing about the advent of AI is that the AI has been really able to come in and kind of make things a lot more efficient and streamlined for you and your companies. So, what does it look like scheduling a strategy session? We really want to make sure that the sooner you kind of book a meeting with us, we can help you map out your current goals and identify any cadence opportunities that we see inside your program, and how we can kind of get this going for you within the next 7 to 14 days, depending on what it looks like. This You can scan this QR code as well. It's kind of book a meeting now, but this is not just some generic demo. We'll actually be showing you the AI agent working. We'll focus on campaigns that you have. If you do attend the meeting and sign up for a demo, we'll have some templates created by our AI email agent ready for you to kind of review with us. And we'll walk you through everything that you kind of expect of it from the start when you do your onboarding with Danielle and her team to the day when you can get your first content calendar to sending your first campaign. Every brand that joins the session, you're going to leave with a clear kind of execution plan and readiness kind of assessment of what those opportunities look like by being able to send on an improved cadence and deliverability, with consistent sending, and campaigns and goals. This will give your team an immediate clarity on where the biggest gains exist or where you can start and how we kind of build that up as we kind of move into the summer and into the fall. And then kind of just to wrap everything and bring everything together, the shift is happening in e-commerce marketing right now, and it's really simple to kind of see. People, especially the small and medium-sized businesses, are looking for ways to grow and scale without adding that extra headcount. Execution on doing certain things is going now to become that big competitive advantage. And the brands that really build consistent execution and capacity today and start working today on it will start owning that inbox and the customer's attention tomorrow. The AI email agents aren't replacing marketing teams. They're just giving teams the execution capacity required to win and to get other things done that are more important to the business. So if you want to see exactly what this would look like inside your program, you can scan the QR code, reserve a strategy session while attendee slots are still available. And Danielle and I and our teams will work. We'll look forward to working with you and meeting with you and discussing your goals. But again, we want to really thank you guys for attending today, listening to us, learning about our AI email agent, and we'd love to meet with you, talk to you more, and kind of help you guys get going as soon as possible. And if you guys have any questions, this is a great time to ask your questions. If not, Danielle, I don't know if you have anything else you would like to kind of add before we sign off.
Um, I don't think so. I think we went to old. There's always going to be some questions, which is completely fine, but not off the top of my head.
Oh, we have one. Here's one question. Yes, this does work inside Klaviyo. It can work inside Bay Engage, which is our e-commerce our email marketing, SMS marketing platform. But we can also integrate it with Klaviyo, so you would not have to move over from another email marketing platform. Another question, does the AI create the campaigns completely or do we approve everything? So the AI, and I'll let Daniel kind of talk a little bit more about this as she kind of talked about. The AI will create most of the campaigns completely from pre-created templates. Daniel and her
Mhm.
team will review it, make sure it's there's no like misspellings or anything little like that. Sometimes AI gets about 90 to 95% of the way there. And then they will send it to you, and it will then be responsible for you to just kind of review it quickly, just to make sure everything looks on correct on brand control and everything. And then you would approve it, and they would get scheduled and sent. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. So the base template is essentially going to be a layout to where there's going to be like blocks for images, there's going to be blocks for different sections, and even like a block for products. And so then with the content calendar and basically the theme and the focus of the week, that information is going to be fed into the AI email agent. The base template is going to be selected, and then that is going to create the template. And then after it is created, our team will look over it, make sure it matches what it is, and then that will be sent directly to you then, to where you can be able to approve it or have any updates. So yes, it is
Oh,
created, but there is a base starting point, which also doesn't have to be just one. If there's like one or two or three, and it can also change at, like in a quarter. It just depends. But having ones that are consistent is really good to create that brand aware, like staying with your brand, not having multiple different types of emails.
Maybe a question about onboarding. They want to know how long does onboarding typically take before campaigns start running? Again, I'll pass that to you, Danielle, since you're the one who kind of oversees a lot of that.
Yeah, I would probably say to have a week for the onboarding, just to get everything going, to go ahead and get the information about the brand voice, about the business, inserting that into our AI email agent, creating the base template, creating content calendar, getting the first template up and running, and then once the template any changes, I mean, it potentially could be less than that, maybe 5 days, but a week is a really good way to stay safe and have like a nice wiggle room there.
Okay. There's a question about segmentation and targeting. Is that something that is handled by the AI email agent?
It's a combination of both, seeing like what you were doing before, and you can be able to like manually select the segments as well too. It also depends too on like what the campaign's about. Are you sending out to your engaged users? But for the most part, it is based on what is working. And also, if you're using Bay Engage, depending on like your open rates and where everything is, also what our email deliverability team might have recommended as sending out to.
Any other questions? I think that's everything. I don't know if anyone else has any questions. If you do have additional questions, you can email me at kevin@targetbay.com, or Danielle@targetbay.com. And we'll be more than happy to reach out and answer those questions. We're recording this webinar, so we'll go ahead and make sure this gets uploaded the next 24 hours, which we'll send out to everyone who's attended and everyone who's signed up, just so you have a copy of this. But if there are no other questions, we just again want to really thank you for taking the time out of your day to connect with us. We look forward to working with you. If you're already existing TargetBay customers, we look forward to continue to working with you, and we appreciate your business. And we're just excited to kind of continue to grow your company, as well as help you guys take a little bit off your plate and kind of help you scale and make 2026 one of your best years ever. So thank you again, and Danielle, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone.